Yo, what's poppin'? This your boy EJ, aka Sir Evangeline Joseph, aka The Bully, aka Mr. 10 Feet.
This your boy Wayne Willmatic, Mr. Free Coast.
Okay.
1/3 of Free Gems Network.
Hey man, the biggest gems.
And we got another very, very special guest
in
the building.
Icon. I've said that before, but
it's a little different.
Nah, today is different. This queen, she's the voice of the Tri-City area.
The voice.
I'm talking about ain't nobody seeing her. We got to give it up and give her flowers today. Miss AP.
What's up, y'all?
How you doing?
I'm so glad to be here. I can't wait.
Man.
I'm excited. I'm excited.
Man, we are too. How we like to kick off the show is we like to ask, where are you from?
I'm from here. I hail from Seal, Alabama.
Okay.
Yeah. When I graduated from now defunct Chevalier High School, last class, and moved to Los Angeles, went to the University of Southern Cal.
USC.
And then years later, came back here to continue my family. Went to Columbus State, went to Troy.
And it's been history ever since.
Here, right. Yeah.
That's great, man. You've been a staple in the community for a long time, and you said that you went to USC. What did you major in? Political
science originally. I thought I wanted to be Donald Trump. Well, not Donald Trump. I thought about being a lawyer, but I wanted to go into politics.
Why didn't you pursue the career as a lawyer? Because I remember me and you spoke
because I love to argue. I love to debate. But I got married, and the kids kept coming. And then one day I was doing a fundraiser. I called the radio station. He said, "You have a nice voice. You should do radio." So I was like, but he did me a demo tape and gave me a part-time job.
What? So you started your radio career out in LA.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
What are some of the biggest differences first off, what is the radio scene like in LA as opposed to the radio scene here in Georgia?
I will say that we were revered a lot more. People really looked up to you. You know, you're somebody. People know who you are. You make a lot more money. But also you get to be in the know a little bit more because it's such a major city and one of the largest markets. So even if you play a small role at the station, you know, it's a well-oiled machine. Yeah.
You said that you somebody back out there. But you got, I mean, let's not play now. You somebody here too.
Well, yeah, but also I'm somebody who's from Seal. So yeah, but in LA you could just walk into some place and this is a girl from the radio station and boom boom boom. Here it's like she from the radio station.
You was getting your stuff for free.
Yeah, without asking, because I'm not gonna ask. Some people will ask, do you know who I am?
No.
Like, I'm not doing all that. And I know people here that, when they walk in, they just feel like everything should be.
Like everybody should stop what they doing and pay attention.
At the end of the day, I'm a customer, just like everybody else. Because if the service bad, I'm going to talk about it now. So let me pay.
Do you remember the first station that you were in?
Here or in LA? The Beat.
In LA.
The Beat.
The Beat.
And I'm here at KKBT in LA.
Okay. Well, so it was
worked for a gentleman called Greg Beasley. His name was Captain G.
Captain G. How long ago was that?
Ooh, that was in the 90s.
That ain't that bad.
Yeah.
You made it seem like it was like
you just make it seem like that was in '73.
But they was spending Marvin Gaye or something.
No, I got a chance to meet Tupac.
No,
Biggie.
Wow.
Yeah, so because when they were hot. Yeah.
Piping.
Wow.
And I mean back then, they would tell us, say, okay, Tupac's coming in tomorrow. So the girls knew. We knew, get your makeup, get your outfit.
Right.
You know.
So the climate was much different.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
What was
all inclusive? If you went some place, you know, it's like the radio station had a table, or you know, people knew who we were. At the time, Prince had a club called Glam Slam, so that's when people were dressing up to go to the club. So everybody was trying to look their best.
Right.
Yeah.
So you done made an appearance in Grand Slam.
Oh yes. Oh yes. And you know, just being in awe of Prince coming around and to tables and saying hello.
So, just out of curiosity about Prince, because I didn't know you had an encounter with Prince.
Yes, encounter. I wish I had.
Was he like mystical, like how people say that he was? Like, so when he came around, like, were you like?
Everybody's like
starstruck.
Everybody's like just waiting to see what he was gonna say or what he was gonna do. I mean, you know, it was Prince. Yeah, and I have a really good friend that used to hang out at Paisley Park a lot, and just when he would talk to me about how they did it, how everything was artistic, and it could be 3 a.m, and he said, "Okay, it's time to write. It's time to do this. It's time to do that," and everybody up. You know, the band didn't live far. Everybody lived in close proximity, and that's it. You know, and everybody had to. Now, this is what struck me. Everybody had to look the part. He didn't play like you come in. You know, like radio. Sometimes we come in, we look bummy, baseball cap, or whatever. He wanted you to look your best at all times, and he would check. Which was, I thought that was something else. That he had hairdressers. Of course, he had his personal one, but the ladies had hairdressers. He had barbers. He wanted everybody to look like they were with Prince.
I mean,
at all
it's
times.
Prince. So it's like you don't got no choice.
Exactly. And I thought that was like, oh wow.
Because like you ain't never seen Prince. Like of course,
that's why you saw him with the baddest ladies during that time. Yeah.
Imagine
Imagine
the stress as like a woman being with Prince.
Okay.
Right.
Okay.
Like you probably thought that you was top tier.
Bad, yeah.
And he walks in, go change.
Yeah, that's not it.
Energy.
Right. How long were you in LA doing radio?
I was there for 4 years.
4 years. What was some of the challenges that you had to go through?
Being such a major city, one, I was a mom and a wife, so sometimes radio life and those don't really mix. My husband at the time was in the Navy, so he could be gone for 6 months at a time, and now everything at home on me. So, mind you, I was in college and working radio and trying to be a mom, so just juggling what what women do every day, but still tough, especially in a major city where even having a car can be an issue. In LA, you know, if you, I mean, you know, some of y'all have visited, and driving, parking, because I remember at that time, even if you had, if you were part time, they didn't pay for parking. Parking's $300 and something a month in the 90s.
That's nuts.
Yeah. So it became easier to take public transportation than it was to have a car. You know, car payment, insurance, and parking, then it's easier to have public transportation, or cheaper.
Wow.
But I couldn't have public transportation because I was transporting other people.
Yeah, so you ain't had no choice but to.
Right.
Just, you know, small things that you would think, you know, in Columbus may not mean a whole lot, but in LA,
it's huge out there.
Yeah. I mean, when you got a city, you got 6 lanes on each side of the freeway.
Right.
Yeah.
So how did you find that balance?
My dad raised me with the concept of you don't say what you can't do, you only focus on what needs to be done. And if you keep that mindset, then you just keep going. You just stay on track and keep going. Because if you say, "Oh, I can't do this, there's no way I'm going to do this," you won't do it because you already spoke it. But if you say, "Okay, this has to be done, this," then you find a way to get it done. So with my kids, you know, when they run into challenges, first thing I say is, okay, fight the air for a minute. You know how young people, y'all fight there.
Get your Cuba Gooding Jr.
Yeah, get yourself together and then get her done.
Right.
Because I don't want to hear all the excuses.
Right.
Yeah.
Who are some of your mentors today?
Today, famous or just period?
Period.
You know what? Ironically, one of the people that is a mentor to me that I was afraid of when I met is the owner of P&B Broadcasting. His name is Jimbo Martin. And Mr. Martin he might be in his 70s now. Mm-hmm. But I worked for him before, but I make a point as an employee, if I don't have to go in the general manager's office or whoever, I come to work, I do my work, I try to do it the best of my ability, and I'm out. Mm. But, and I think because his saying is, I don't want to hear about the labor pains, just bring me the baby. Mm. So it's like all the other stuff that you got to do to get your job done, I don't need to hear all of that because now you're wasting time where you could be doing something. At the end of the day, I need the baby.
So it's almost like what your dad was saying too. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. You know,
like, and it's like a continuation because my dad was the same way. And he taught me, there before the grace of God go I. So do everything with humility. Be good to everybody. And give without expecting anything back. So when I do stuff for people, I do it and then I move on.
Right.
And if they say thank you, they say thank you. I mean, I've been burned a minute, but I think some of y'all know me. But here's the thing: you burn me once, we done. And I wish you well. You know, in this industry and in life, people always trying to get people back. I don't have time to waste energy with that. You burn me once, we don't need to talk about it, discuss it, or nothing else. We're done. Just you know, and I wish you well, but you won't eat off my plate anymore.
So you're in LA, and your husband, you know, gets stationed out here, right?
He was stationed in LA. He got out, and the babies just kept coming. So we decided we were going to move back here to raise the kids much, much cheaper.
Was it like a culture shock though, moving back home?
Moving there and moving back home. Because when I moved there, and I tell people at work this, when I moved there, remember I'm from Seattle, Alabama, I had never seen a homeless person in the flesh. Mm. So imagine you're 17 years old and you go to McDonald's and somebody's holding up a sign that says we'll work for food. Mm-hmm. Although I had known people that had less or, you know, misfortunate, I had never known anyone who didn't have any place to go. Right. You know, that right here in front of McDonald's is it. I don't have any place else to go. And that was just something new to me. I had never seen that before. So that was shocking. Of course, so many cultures and languages where at the time here it was black, white, and Oriental. We didn't even have a lot of Hispanics. Right. You know, in the early 90s, we didn't have a big Hispanic population here. So you go there and even most jobs, if you don't speak Spanish, you're in trouble. What? Because they want a lot of, they need bilingual because there's so many Hispanics there. Right. And it's so close to Mexico that a lot of them don't speak English. Or usually they'll have a child with them that does, and they'll translate. But most jobs.
Man, that's wild. And you said you was 17 when you went out there? So you was a baby. Like,
I loved it though.
I know it, man. Like, cause I can only imagine. Like, it's really fast paced back,
especially compared to here.
Yeah. Yeah. So, what was the challenges like coming back when you?
Driving. You learn to be an aggressive driver when you're in LA, and then you come here and my mother used to say, "Oh, I'm not going to the mall. It's too much traffic." Then the mindset of people, because in LA, if as long as you're not bothering anybody, hurting anybody else, you can just be you. You can do you. You know, people don't care if you're a guy that wears dresses or you know what I mean. You wear your hair short on the side, long on one side. Yeah. People don't really care. That's who you are. But here, you kind of go back to being put in a box. This is what you're supposed to look like. This is how you're supposed to dress. This is who you should date. You know what I mean? This is the school you should go to. The sorority you should be in. That type of thing. Mm-hmm. So, but in LA, it's not like that at all. Like, it's like everybody can be great, and they will encourage you. Mm-hmm. to be that. You know, you don't have to be my first job, to show you the difference, and this is still today. I was at the gas station getting gas, and a lady complimented me on my shoes, and she saw the tag. She said, are you not from here? I said, no, I recently moved out here. And she said, are you looking for a job? And I said, yeah. She said, well, you know, the health department is hiring. Told me the department, told me who to talk to, whole 9 yards. Here, you know, they could have 10 openings at their job. All the desks around them are empty, and they would say, I don't know. And to that, when I got back, I wanted to get a job at Aflac. Mm-hmm. So I saw this girl, and she said she worked at Aflac. I said, really? How do you get in? She said, I don't know. I said, well, you know how you got in. You know what you had to do. It's like here, they feel like once I get a taste of success or something, that's for me. And I'm going to make sure nobody else gets that, because it's just a different thing. Like if I have a nice dress, I don't want you to have that nice dress. I don't want your girl to have that nice dress. If I have a nice car, I want to be the only one.
That's true.
That has a nice car. And if I figure out that you have a nice car, now I got to find out exactly how you got that, or you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. It's just a different vibe.
It's like people almost genuinely love you, mm-hmm. and I that could probably be a stretch, mm-hmm. but genuinely love you. But down here, it's like a lot of hate.
Yeah, I think here we haven't taught each other that your blessings flow when you're blessed, and so that you can bless other people. Mm-hmm. Right. You know, here it seems like sometimes in certain circles the vibe is I'm blessed. Now, you know, don't you hate me? I'm better than you.
That's true.
Yeah. So I hate that.
I had a mentor a while ago, and I would get like excited and want to do certain things. You know, I'm young still, but I was younger. Mm-hmm. And I would want to like almost, you know, stunt mm-hmm. a little bit, you know what I'm saying?
And that's okay.
And he would often like tell me, you know, you don't want to be the king of the nobodies. Mm-hmm. 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 You know what I'm saying? If you want to do it, you want to do it big. You want to do it so everybody, as far as like a broad scale, mm-hmm. can see it, not just people in your city.
Right.
You know, and like now, I think as far as how we're coming, you know, we bringing everybody on board. We're connecting. It's different businesses mm-hmm. and different artists, and we're all like coming together. Right. It's getting better, a little better now. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. You know, and it's, you know, another thing too. We're black, mm-hmm. So I think it's a little progression as far as Columbus, the Tri-City, right. area goes, but it's definitely still there.
Yeah, I really believe in you got to be a silent killer. Like I was saying a couple of weeks ago, I never say. I hear a lot of girls now, I'm getting to my bag. I'm doing. I never say that. Okay. When you meet me, you know it's a bag somewhere. Yeah, you don't really sure where it at.
You better pop it.
Yeah, but you know, and my mother used to say that's the rhetoric of broke people. Mm-hmm. People who always talk about money and how much money they're making.
They ain't got no money.
Because if you follow rich people, they don't ever talk about money.
No, they don't.
They don't even want you to know. They don't want you to know where they live. You know, that kind of thing. So I definitely believe in that. You know, you can see one of the richest people I know. You'll see him in khakis and a button-down shirt. That's about it. You know, it's no, even with me, it's no Gucci belt. It's no, you know what I mean? He doesn't have to show the labels because he know what he got.
Right. Mm-hmm. So you come down to Columbus, and what was the first job that you got when you made it back to the city?
Fox 105.
So you did work at Foxy for a little bit.
I did. I worked there for 6 years. When I left, I was doing middays.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. Philip David March and Art Thomason.
Is that how you got Midday Diva?
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
Because I got that name because even in pregnancy, I wear 6-inch stilettos. So I believe in dressing the part, looking nice. And so they said, she come in here like a diva every day. And that was in L.A. But then it kind of stuck when I got here.
Mm-hmm. So you was... L.A. pretty much birthed that personality.
Mm-hmm. But in L.A., they wanted me to be Angie Aviles because that's more cultural to L.A.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Because, it has a Hispanic tone.
Right.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So did you go by that for a little bit?
Mm-hmm. Or? I did. Didn't really like it, but I did.
Because it wasn't you.
That wasn't you at all.
Right. Because I could speak poquito español.
Yeah.
But there's not.
How did that make you feel?
I tried to look at it like at the time we had a young lady named Lisa Canning who worked there, and she was an actress also, and she said, look at it as you're just playing a role, and it gets you a better check than working 3 hours a day here gets you a better check than working a whole day at your other job. So I tried to look at it like that, but you just try to learn as much as you can while you're there.
But did it still feel as if though you was still compromising with your integrity?
I felt like I was, I wasn't giving you exactly who I am. It's kind of like when you go to the PTA meeting, they don't see the whole Angela. They just see the kid's mom. Mm-hmm. I felt like you're seeing a part of me, but not the full picture of who I am.
Right.
And I think in radio, I think the best hosts, they do that. They show you exactly who they are, the good and the bad, because sometimes, it ain't all that good.
Right.
So when did you get into that, and who was the one that allowed you to be free?
DJ Controller. That's when I came to the beat. I left Foxy. I was at TBM for 3 years, and then DJ Controller called me one day. Him and Mike Powell called me, and they wanted me to come in. They were starting a new station, wanted me to come in and talk about it. At first, I was at TBM, and it didn't jive with middays, so they went ahead. But then they called me back, and they asked me to come in on a part-time basis. Mm-hmm. And Controller was like, "Run with it, go."
Mm. How did that make you feel? I'm sorry.
It was wonderful because he had actually talked to some other people saying who should he get,
right?
And they told him me, so he reached out to me. I didn't call him, so that was nice.
Wow. Mm-hmm. So since you've been doing radio, how long did it take you to get comfortable with your voice?
I'm still not.
Ooh.
What? I don't like hearing myself.
So are you
even in the studios? Many times I don't use headphones because I don't want to hear it back. Mm-hmm. Then sometimes I say stuff that I might not want to hear back. So
like when so
I didn't expect that.
Me neither, because you've been doing it for so long. You're like so great at it.
Most people love to hear themselves talk. I know some jocks here in town. Mm-hmm. Like, okay, that's enough. But I like to get my opinion across.
Right.
But like, love to hear myself talk. Not the same.
So you're of course you're the face of 98.
You think so? I could.
So in your opinion, who's the face?
Cash Flow.
You think so?
Yes, that's my prima donna. I love her.
I mean, but
well, you know what? I think it depends on who you're talking to, the audience you're talking to. Night crowd, be Cash Flow. If you get into the music scene, that would be Jalen. Because Jalen's more into music and culture.
Right.
If we're talking to the old gals.
I don't know, man, because
well,
you've been doing it for a long time.
I guess it depends, right?
Yeah, and so I would like for us to be a collective group, because I know, like, there's some people, when you say the station, you think of that person, and I don't want to be that. I want you to think of us all as a group, because I think together we get it done. When
you broke it down like that, I definitely see what you're saying.
Absolutely.
Because Jay's an artist, so, and also Cash Flow with the nights and the clubs, and I don't do clubs a whole lot.
What will make you come out?
Money. No.
She said, "Listen, if I'm stepping, you better be paying."
Yeah.
Right.
But I mean, I come out to events if we have events for artists or things like that. I'll come to those events. But on like all the time going to the club, probably not. I still have 2 kids at home, so
Right.
Yeah.
What's the biggest misconception of radio?
That you're going to make a whole lot of money really fast, and that you're overnight. You're just gonna walk in and you're gonna grab the mic and you got your own show. Most of us, when we came in, cash flow. I know, you didn't crack the mic. You had to learn the board. You had to do other things. You had to see the fundamentals of radio. You come in, you might be helping out. Because I think when Cashflow started, he was his friend worked at the station, so he kind of came in just checking things out,
Right.
And developed a love for it, and it grew from there.
Right.
So so many people think, oh, okay, well, I think you make this, so I'm ready to. Well, that's not how. It's not how it works in anything.
Yeah.
But people really think radio or most of your job is meeting celebrities. Well, it's probably 5% of the job. I mean, you do meet people, but it's part of your job, and it's a fun job, but it's still how you make your money and how you feed your family. So you still have to be professional, even if it's at the nightclub or at the strip club sometimes. Because recently, Lil Baby invited everybody to the strip club when he launched his new label. Right. So I mean, you're at the strip club, but you still gotta remember it's your job.
Right. Right. Speaking of celebrities again, do you find yourself getting starstruck even to this moment?
I look at all people. I don't think anybody's any better than anybody else, me included. Everybody puts their pants on one leg at a time. Also, sometimes the people that we feel like we build up and we think they're so great, when you meet them in person, you're like, oh, okay.
Yikes.
Yeah. And I think Lil Wayne, when he came to town some years ago, he talked about being on tour and how rough it was and people didn't realize it. And he said that he had like 3 or 4 pair of jeans. In every city that they go to a store, like they went to Macy's here, and he bought like 100 t-shirts. So they just keep the same jeans on, change t-shirts every day.
That is kind
and
of
it's like
right.
And then you think these girls are screaming and begging him that
right.
And he had them jeans on for 3 weeks. You know what I mean?
That's crazy.
Yeah, but everybody thinks it's a glamorous life, and in some parts of it is, but
a lot of it is real. Yeah. It's work. Do you love what you do?
I do.
Did you
because
always?
I thought about going back to law school, but I do love what I do. Did I? Yeah, I was hooked from the time I met Tupac. Yeah, because and this is how my first PD hooked me. He said, if you get middays, and I'm thinking mom mind, if you get middays, you can drop your kids off at school and pick them up in the evening, still make a full-time paycheck. What?
That's cake.
Right.
He said, because middays is 10 to 2. So you can drop your kids off at school, come to work, do your production, be on the air from 10 to 2, still be back there by 3:30, pick them up. Now, to some people, that may not mean anything, but that means I don't have to pay daycare. All that daycare is out the window.
All right.
So I was hooked. I was like, okay. And then, of course, in LA, they make a lot more, but I was like, and y'all make how much?
Right.
Or even if you do it if you had night, Lisa Canning did 10 to 2 at night. She did the Love Zone. I think 10 to 2, my kids are in bed.
Right.
So that was one of the things. I was always a talker, and I could debate and not have to have a law degree. 'Cause, you know.
So you pretty much, you know, killing two birds with one stone.
Right. Still doing what you love. Right.
In some capacity or form, and I ended up getting a master's degree in psychology. So I wasn't really at the time. I didn't understand how much psychology goes into being on the radio too.
Right.
Of what to say, when to say, how to say it. You know, and I try to teach that too. A lot of things you can say, you just got to watch your delivery, the way you say it. Because I say once you think about it, I say some rough things. Like you have to think about it for a minute. So,
do you believe that radio is still a male-dominated industry?
oh, absolutely. Now I'll speak as a PD.
Right.
And the funny thing is, people think that because it's male-dominated, it's the men that are most discriminatory. It's the women. I say this all. If you ever listen to me, you know I say women hate women. Oh, we cannot stand each other. So for months, I didn't say that I was the PD. I just was on the air. I think Cashflow was the one who told somebody. But women, and still to this very day, the 20th of January, whatever it is, there are women in this city who will say, they will call Cashflow or they'll call Jalen, and then they'll say, oh, I didn't know. I said, well, I told you like 10 times. But it's something about us, especially as black women. I made a comment about Kamala Harris. I said, you know, I wonder how many women who are rooting for her, got chucks and pearls on, who, if they didn't know who she was, would snub her or would call her boss. Because I get this all the time. Somebody will call my general manager. A call that you could have easily done because you called me and asked for whatever. You know, can you come or can you do this? Most women will call my general manager and tell him to tell me what I got to do. Now, usually he'll just call and say, can you do this for this person? And I say yes or no. Because he'll be like, well, do it if you want. But in our eyes, I'm making her do what I say.
All right.
So until we as women can get on one page, guys don't do that to each other. You know, guys will call easily and say, hey, oh, I know the PD over at the radio station. Let me see if he can do whatever.
Right.
Women, we're not going to do that. Guys call me all the time and say, hey, can I stop by? I got an idea to run by you or whatever. Not a big deal. I finally gotten people to stop calling me ma'am. And so that's good. But women, we still have challenges. We got to learn to stick together. I mean, we could rule the world if we could get along. Yeah.
So how do you see yourself changing that within what you can change?
One woman at a time. You know, I try to raise daughters that are inclusive of women and consider women and all people in the things that they do. Like I said, I will help you, and I don't have to tell anybody, and you don't either. But I've gotten women that I've helped, and then they turn around and stab me in the back and want my job. You know, it's like, but I gave you a whole lane that you could do, I mean, I've helped people who couldn't get a job anywhere else, and I've stood up and talked for them, and they weren't with us maybe 30 days, and it's something shady about me, and they can, or they want to host, or they want to do. It's like, no, we're the host. But they feel like they can do anything. So I think in teaching and understanding and believing that we're a fist and not fingers. If we stick together, and I teach this to my children, you know, fingers individually, you break fingers easily. But if you ball them up in your fist, it's a lot stronger. So I think helping women to understand that we got to be a fist with each other. That if I can't help you, I'm not going to hurt you.
Boy, that's a gem. Ooh, that's a gem. Because you can, like
I mean, black people in general, but women, we got it bad.
So, I know you always dealt with hate, you know, since whenever. What steered you to not? Because it's my wife always say, excuse my French, you know, they always say, not them, but They say I cuss too much on the show, but
you can cuss all you want to me, baby. It's nothing.
They say it's easy to be an asshole.
It is.
Like, so I guess my question is, how did you like develop that?
Oh, I'm an ass sometimes too. The saying at work is I'm nice until I'm not. So I give you a long time. But once, like I said earlier, once we're there, and we don't go back. Or once you cross a line with me, we don't go back across. Quick example, young lady, we always got along well, and one day I don't know what was going on, but she was like, I asked a question about something, and she took it to the extreme. I said, no, I'm just asking this because I also have to protect the jocks that work with me. Many times we may do, production or do stuff for people, and then they come back and say, oh, that's not right. I need y'all to redo it. Okay, well, I need everybody to make sure everything is correct before I ask them to do this work, because I can't ask them to work on something for 2 hours and then you come back and say, oh, two words and they're wrong. Well, you should have proofed that before you gave it to us.
Right.
So I just asked, have you proofed it? Next thing you know, I got my general manager calling, or I got the person in charge calling, but that's what I said. But like I said, women, they're not gonna just communicate with you and say, oh no, let me check real quick, like most men would do. It was, I'm gonna call her boss and tell him to make her do, or she's not cooperating. So the next day it was, hey girl, So you say, good morning, Angela. We've gotten past the hey girl. Once you tell my boss and you're trying to make me look like I'm not doing my work, we're beyond hey girl.
Right.
We're now Angela. We're now Miss Peterson.
Right. It's co-worker boss now.
And yeah, it's no hostility. But you show me who you are. I've seen how far you're willing to take things, even when, and she ended up being wrong. You know I said it. But even when you're wrong, you're willing to pull people in and try to make somebody else look like they're not doing their job when you were wrong. So now we've crossed that line.
Right.
And once again, I wish you well. I don't wish hate on anybody, but
right.
You won't eat off this table.
Right.
Have you ever abandoned a creative idea that you believed in that maybe somebody else didn't?
All the time. Not so much now, but when I worked at other stations here in town, I had supervisors who were not always with what the employees felt or thought. They wanted to be the face and the only face of the station. Only their ideas were good. Now, it may be that you give them an idea and then 60 days later, now all of a sudden they got the same idea.
Right.
but
all of a sudden they geniuses.
Yeah. And then you're like, didn't I state that?
Right.
Yeah. But absolutely. And then sometimes you don't have the backing. You don't have just other people, because sometimes you can run with stuff, but who you gonna run to if you don't have any other backers? I mean, as technology grows, though, it's getting to where you don't need anybody else to believe in what you're doing.
All right.
All you need is yourself, a mic, and a camera, and you're get your computer, get programmed, you're good.
You sound like free gems.
Yeah, because it may be sometimes things are too big for the people around you. Sometimes people can't see you soar because they only want to see you here. And you have to feed people from the tree limb that they're on. You can't be on the top of the tree trying to feed the people down here because they're not going to get it. So sometimes you got to climb by yourself.
Ooh.
I mean,
Jesus Christ.
That's just real. Sometimes because haven't you had something where all your friends and family, you say something, they be like, that ain't gonna work. Please. You need to go down there and sit down there, get your job, bagging groceries or whatever, and be quiet. But that's not who you are, and that's not what's going to make you happy.
Right.
And in the end, if you're doing something you're not happy at, you poor.
For real.
I don't care how much money you make. You poor, because I've had jobs, even in communications, where you go in the parking lot, you just sit there for a few minutes. Let me go in here. Let me go get this money. And that's horrible. But now I have a job where I'm happy to go in. I'm glad to see the people I work with. And if we don't, even if during the pandemic now, if we don't see each other every day, we're going to talk and communicate every day. And that in itself is a diamond.
So how did that affect radio for you?
Very different for us, because since we're not live, well, we are live, but there's not a lot of interaction with people. I'd have some people that come in, like Gwinnetta Wright from Expert Tax. She comes in. Then we have other people that you've come in, but people, we can't have so many people in the station anymore because, frankly, we don't want to get sued. And we don't also, I don't want to make anybody else sick.
Right.
And we don't know where this is going. We don't know what's happening. So I think, but a lot of people have lost jobs in radio during the pandemic. We're definitely juggling a lot of different things. We have 3 stations under our umbrella of RCG. So we're juggling a lot of different things, or I am, and the guys are too. Right. So, things we love. We don't do as many live remotes. Christmas, we always look forward to the parades and the games, the football games. None of that happened. Also, advertising dollars are down, so that affects all of us when the advertising dollar is down, because most businesses aren't advertising.
All right.
For the listeners and for us as well, how do you go about getting an ad
for to do radio?
Like,
usually, if you call one of us, we'll put you in touch with an account executive. Recently, just last week, they set me up so that I can now sell, because sometimes during the pandemic you're not seeing account executives. So now we can have a one-stop shop at the beat. But that's just recent that we had started doing that. Normally, you would get in touch with somebody that works for the station. They'll lead you to an account executive, and they'll send you out a package. You tell them what you want to spend, what you need, and then they would send you out a package customized for you.
So do the businesses that come to you, do they write up what they want you to say, or do you have to do it yourself?
Usually they will give copy points. Then we write up the commercial, and then we send it back to them. Say, here's your copy, and let me know if this is good, or write in whatever you want in, because we want to make sure that they're satisfied with whatever, because we don't want to do a commercial and say we didn't put their address, or we didn't put things that they need if they're going to get customers in. So but usually they just will tell us, and some people will already have it, because if you for real about the money you spending, a lot of people, I already got the commercial, and we just cut it.
All right.
Go ahead.
Has working at the radio changed your view on life?
Yes. I'm usually, whatever you see is what you get. And more I see that people wear a mask. I used to work with a lady who I still consider her like my sister. Her name is Michelle Aram, and she lives here in Columbus. But she told me something. She said, don't ever let anybody else tell your story, no matter how bad it is, no matter whatever. So, she's like, if you had a bad point in your life, say it on the air. Because you got people who may not be happy for you, or and they will go around, oh yeah, that's the girl who she divorced, or she this, anything can be bad in the South. But she taught me that, and I held on to that, and this too shall pass. She was like, whatever you're going through, in a year you'll laugh about it. And I teach that to my kids, even with relationships and breakups. I'm like, in a year you'll be like, what was that girl's name? Or who's that guy? So I think that's changed my outlook, that nothing is permanent except who you are at your core. That everything can change. You can see people, I see people all the time who, when they were young, break the law, do all kinds of crazy stuff. but they get older and they, you learn better, you reinvent yourself, you do better things. So I like to see people let that go. I hate when if I meet you and they say, oh yeah, when he was 12, he did.
Right.
I don't care about what he did when he was 12. Plus, I think that shades people from, they want to give you a mindset or a complex about that person when you meet them. Mm-hmm. So when I meet people, you start off on a clean slate, no matter who you are. And I don't feel like a congressman or the president is any better than the person, the janitor. I could care less. Everybody's on a clean slate. I don't care what other people say about you. You have to show me that side for me to make a decision. So I think radio's changed my outlook because I see some of the prettiest people do the ugliest things. And then, I'm not going to say anything, but it's just like, interesting. We were talking at work about Beyonce's nephew. Mm-hmm. He released a little sex tape with Scott Jackson, and then when people were saying, you're going to get in trouble, that's revenge porn, and he was like, my aunt's Beyonce. Ain't nothing gonna happen to me. I said, one, you should be saying your mom is Solange, because Solange is the bad bitch. Mm-hmm. But
yeah. You see what she did the whole
exactly. Right. I said, but how many people do you know who do that? I know so many people in town. Oh, my uncle is this person. My dad is blah blah blah. Right. I said, but what have you done? Who are you?
Nobody.
It's like your uncle got you this job, man, and you can barely do it, half of them. But that kind of changed my outlook. You see people with these extravagant jobs and talking about all this stuff, and I think social media helps it too. Everybody a billionaire on social media.
So, how has life for AP changed since social media came?
Ooh. The cap is for real. Oh my God. Everybody is great. Everybody is rich. Everybody is doing big things. It's like, everybody is getting to the bag. It's like,
right.
I used to work at the housing authority. Half of y'all get to the bag on Section 8, but I ain't gonna go there. I ain't gonna go there.
Nah.
I cannot tell your business, but I'd be like, you sure you get to the bag?
You get into the bag?
Yeah, or the people that they claim to be millionaires and all kinds of stuff. I mean, do we really have to do all that? I had a friend of mine who is a former officer who came by the office the other day, and he was like, "Oh, you saw so-and-so? Yeah, she's a millionaire." What? I said, "Well, that's what she say."
Right.
That's what she is. But that millionaire paid $34. Maybe she's a millionaire like Donald Trump. I mean, he only paid $750 in taxes, and he is a millionaire. But I was like, okay. I think social media has given people a platform where humble people who are really working hard, they just kind of, I am who I am.
Mm-hmm. Right.
People who ain't really doing nothing, they can make it look real good. I have a cousin who every time she go by like a certain type of car, she'll pose in front of the car and people think, that's our car. Not your car. You drive a Chevy. And it's okay. You can take a picture in front of the car and say, one day, or I like this or whatever. But let's not pretend it's yours.
That's true.
Yeah. You know what I'm saying? You drive, it's not a Cavalier or something, but it's a Chevy. And it gets you from point A to point B, though. So,
right. So be proud of it.
Exactly.
Right.
Because it's almost like you're embarrassed of who you really are. And I understand fake it till you make it. I totally understand that. But some people take it to a different level where now they're trying to make you feel bad for not having what they really don't have. And to me, that's not cool.
No, not at all. Being a radio, you meet a lot of people. Mm-hmm. What does relationships mean to AP?
In my job description, it means a lot. Just the way radio works. When you're an employee, I think you really don't get how it works until you get into management and just how songs are released and the whole 9 yards. Because you just, when you're new in the radio, you just think, oh, I heard this hot song on the album. Oh, play this.
Mm-hmm.
You can't do that. And people, I get calls people all the time say, well, I heard this one, so and so got this song out. Y'all should play that, but it hasn't been released for radio airplay. Which was I was talking to a friend of mine today. I'm telling him just a tidbit of how it works. That's why you may get the download or of a person's project, and they got 16 songs, and you've been listening to this song for 6 months, but they just starting to play it on the radio because they don't release the whole. They may sell the whole album, but they don't. They release records in unison so that the album can stay around longer. That's why like you'll see some albums on the charts for 2 years or whatever, because they'll release one song, then they'll wait 2 months, they'll release another one like that. So if we just start playing everything off the project, then pretty soon after about 2 months, that's old. Yeah, that's old. Mm-hmm.
So that's what singles and how that came
and
about.
How that go. And that, I think if you've ever watched, I remember Tamar Braxton when she was married to Vincent Hubbard, and we see a lot of rappers, they don't want to wait. They're upset because the record label won't release their project right now. They shelve it because things have to be at the right time too. You know, it may be a great project, but that's like the Migos 10 years ago. Mm-hmm. That wouldn't have worked. You know, if they had released, their project 10 years ago, people are like, what are they saying?
Right.
Yeah. So everything has to have a time. Cardi B knew that she pretty much knew she was going to be big, but nobody knew her name. So everything's contrived. She went on Love and Hip Hop. When she went on there, she said, I'm only going to be on here for 2 years. I just need people to know who I am. So when I start releasing stuff other than my mixtape, because people, if you were in the underground, you knew who she was. But when I start releasing music, people say, okay, that's the girl from Love and Hip Hop.
Mm-hmm. Right.
So that's how she had at least 30 people working for 2 years to push it, to make her successful. So that's what I've learned about radio, that nothing just happens by chance.
Right.
Right now, this is who they're pushing. That's why, like, most of the girls you'll see that are hot at the time, they kind of all look alike. Yeah. Look at Janae Aiko and, Kiana Lede, all of them kind of look like cousins. Because right now, that's going to be the hot type chick. You don't see people that look like Mary J. Blige anymore.
That's true.
That's kind of out. And right now, they're looking for the waif-thin girls that, that they can sing, but they can't sing.
Right.
But they can sing. And because as social media is more powerful, looks become more important.
Can you tell when it's about to be a shift in music and radio?
Usually you can. You can tell from people's taste and then from what they start to release. Because I've seen some things, you'd be like, this is garbage.
Right.
But it's like, I always ask this question. How do you know that Beyonce is the hottest chick in the game? Because she told you she was. Because every station, no matter what she releases, they're going to play it over and over and over and over and over and over. So it's like, if you don't like liver and onions, but I give you liver and onions every day, 3 times a day, after so long, you say, damn, I want some liver and onions. But 2 years ago, you didn't even like it. So when we continue to feed you with the same things, not that she's not great, because she's a fabulous entertainer, but when we continue to feed you something, and if you're listening to any music platform and you hear the same songs over and over, after a while, you just, okay.
Right. You eventually become
psychological.
accepted.
It's psychological.
Right. When was the last artist you heard and you pretty much was able to call it? Like, this is the next big thing.
Cardi. For sure. And people are like, what? I said, watch. One, because she already had a presence. Right now, Hispanic and fair skin. I mean, it's always in. Don't get me wrong, but that's what's in music. And if you look, some of the great, they've done great things. They came by a hit. 50 Cent, he's been around for a long time. You see a lot of people that at one time they were popping. They were, even Jay-Z. What would he release right now?
We're not gonna get into that.
Exactly. Some people feel like
I would debate you, but it's okay.
It's like I feel like what would he release right now, because we're not seeing anybody who looks like him release anything right now, and that's not what's hot. Although he talked about being a b-boy back in the day and doing some things, the music shift is very different of what he does. And then if he went to do what some guys are doing now, you'd be like, what is Jay-Z talking about? He married Beyonce. You know what I mean? So it's I think sometimes it can be disrespectful. Even women, we're disrespectful to each other in most of our songs. We say we don't want to compete, but most hot songs by women, what are we doing? Competing with the next chick. Yeah.
Taking somebody, man.
Mm-hmm. And although we don't want to, we say men are misogynistic. We're talking about, I get money to do it. You want to get some of this. It's pussy talk. English, Spanish, and French. So, and that's women saying that. But if you said it, we be TikTok.
Yeah, that's true.
So that's the shift that I don't understand in music.
Right.
So it's okay for us to talk about how we hate women and how every woman is jealous of whatever, and that's fine. But can we be that mad when men say it? Because we just said it.
Well, you've been dropping gems this whole episode. Right. What's the biggest L AP has took in radio?
Under my last management, before I moved, under the RCG umbrella, I worked for a man who did not give me a raise for 9 years.
Boy, that's
and with I was the only person on the staff that he did not fire. So some people feel like that's an accomplishment, and it probably is. But I didn't find out till we didn't work together anymore that he just had. I mean, I should have figured it out. He didn't give me a raise, but nobody got one. It wasn't just me. Nobody on staff got a raise, but that he was saying some just totally untrue things, and he just really didn't like me. I think what it was, though, that if you can find somebody who comes in and does their job, and you don't have to worry about them, you keep them around, because the alternative is you find somebody who don't do nothing. Yeah, and so that's definitely the biggest L. But I took it because at the time I had smaller children. I had gotten the opportunity to leave Columbus, but didn't. I had kids in college and kids in elementary school. So didn't want to do that. My family was here. So I just got to the point where I prayed. True story, to tell you, prayers are real. My pastor at Spirit Field Ministries, Pastor Wayne Baker, says, pray and be specific. So I prayed, God. I had 3 men in my life just giving me hell for no reason. I come in, smile every day. And then it was like I was the most educated person on the staff, had the most experience, 2 master's degrees, and behind my back I'm dumb, I'm this and that. And people would say, because everybody don't want to see you shine, everybody don't want to see you do well. So I said, God, I don't know how you're going to do it, but I want you to remove these people from my day to day. And like I said, no harm intended to anybody, but it was just getting to the point that it was affecting me and my, how I felt when I got home. I'm yelling at my kids for no reason, that type of thing. And we found out right before Christmas. I went on a remote, came back from my remote, and said, hey, let me talk to you in the office for a second. Thought nothing of it. They told us, well, hey, you've been sold. the station's been sold. You're going and you don't have a choice. You got to go. And I said, well, I don't want to go because they had talked so bad about the people that had bought us.
Mm-hmm. All right.
And they were like, well, you don't have a choice. I didn't know who else was going. I didn't know what was going to happen. Went upset, called, because we worked for a corporate company with over 400 stations. Found out the person I needed to talk to from my then general manager. She found who I needed to talk to because I was like, I'm not a slave. You just can't sell me to the next person.
Well, that's it. I didn't put two and two together, but that's exactly what it sounds like.
Yeah, and you can't just tell me I don't have a choice. You gotta go. So I called him, and I will never forget his name. And I tell you, he was the nicest man. His name was Steve Davis. And I explained to him why I was calling. Mm-hmm. And he said, you are the first person. He said, I've been doing this a long time. He said, you're the first person that called me upset because the new company wants to keep you. He said, most of the time when we sell stations, and we do it every day, the new owners don't want the jobs that are there. They're going to bring their own people in. He said, you're the first person to call me. I said, well, sir, I'm not a slave. You can't sell the black people because our station, is the urban station. And he said, I used to be a jock. He said, I'm looking over your resume here. And he said, we've known that this station was sold since June. Mind you, it's December. And I said, I have 7 children. I have 2 children with autism on the spectrum. I can just pick up. And so he said, do you mean to tell me the people that you worked with for 10 years knew that this station was being sold for 6 months and didn't say anything to you? And they just came up one day and said, hey. And mind you, it was like the Friday before Christmas that they told me. So it's like, we don't know if you're going to have a job, And so he said, I used to be a jock. I'm going to give you some advice. He said, if I were you, and I thank God I took the advice and I told Cashflow what he said. He said, if I were you, I would, because it had come up, hey, you guys, we can't keep you, but you could act like you're going, quit, and we'll rehire you. Now, am I to believe that the man that did give me a raise for 10 years is going to rehire me after I quit the job? No. So Steve Davis said, if you do that, that's on you. You don't know if they're telling you the truth or not. They could be just they know you're a good worker, trying to get you out of the game. So he said, what I would do, I would go with the new owner. I would talk to him, negotiate a much better salary. And then I would whip their ass in the ratings. And now if they want you to come back up the hill with them, they got to pay you. Mm-hmm. And so I talked to Cashflow, and a couple of days later, and that's what we decided to do. Mm. And he was like, the new owner wants you because you do a good job. People in the city already know you. And he said, sometimes you got to step out of your comfort zone. He said, look at it like this. And that's when it said, bing, God is taking these people out of your life. Mm. And although it was scary for me, I prayed for it. I didn't realize that it was going to come like it did.
Right.
But I prayed for it. Take these people. They're just giving me a hard time for no reason out of my life. And that's what happened. And then we came down, and our first and second book, we had higher numbers than the station has ever had.
Oh, man.
Yeah. So, we're pretty proud of that.
So y'all out here breaking records.
Mm-hmm. Because we were trying to, we run it more of a team-based thing. Mm-hmm. I'm the leader of the team, but I'm only as strong as my weakest link. So we band together, or at least we try.
Would you say that's your biggest win so far?
In radio?
Right.
Absolutely. Because there's only just a handful, I think you can count on one hand, of female PDs in urban hip-hop radio. And most people don't know, urban hip-hop radio is catered for women, to women. So why are mostly men leading? So, I mean, who's going to know what women like better than another woman? Now, don't get me wrong. I get people all day who tell me, we need to figure out what black women like. Let's call somebody. The hell we calling somebody? I'm sitting right here.
I'm
sitting right here. But also there's a belief and I found it in this area more than anywhere else, that people here in Columbus don't know anything. I'll tell you guys this. If you move from here and you're gone maybe 18 months to 2 years and come back, I don't care what job you have, you could come back, they'll offer you 40% more than what you're making now. Because there's a belief that if you're here, that you're not smart, you're not knowledgeable, you don't know what you're talking about, or there's some kind of you got some kind of underlined plan, you're really here, you don't want to see it succeed. It's very strange, and I've seen it happen in all types of industries. My friend who worked for newspaper left, went to Virginia, came back 18 months later. The job that they would not give him when he was working hard here, came back 18 months later with that job with much more money than he was asking for when he was here.
That's wild.
Mm-hmm. And I think that's what happens in radio. You have to remember, most urban radio stations are owned by non-urban people. And even the ones that are owned by urban people, black folk don't want to pay black folk.
I
hand you that $8 an hour with pride.
I know.
Like, you have how much experience? You got what degree? Okay, well we're paying $8.25. And then you think the average rent, I think it says it's like $1,000 here. So even with now the new administration is talking about they're gonna take the minimum wage up to $15 an hour. Still, the people who are getting this round, don't know how they're getting it either. You still really don't make it. You have to make like $21, $22 an hour to be able to comfortably afford rent in this area. So that's why people have 2 and 3 jobs.
So, you're a busy woman, very busy woman. You said you had 7 kids. You married. You got you a PD at a radio station. Where do AP find time for herself?
My leisure time is shoes. I adore shopping. Some people like to travel. Even before the pandemic, traveling for me is a catch-22 because you need a day to recuperate once you get back. I'm not into I've never been the girl who wants to go to Africa. That's not my thing. Maybe somewhere tropical. I do go on girlfriends' weekends. I have the same best friends since elementary school. So we do go on girls' weekends, but I'm not getting up at 4:30 in the morning to go running or anything like that. And some of them do. I've done half marathons. Probably my leisure is probably 2-3 o'clock in the morning. I get up and the house is quiet, and I maybe have a glass of wine. I'll work. I'll work on scheduling music or something like that on one of the stations, and be able to watch TV and hear it. And leisure is probably when the UPS man drops me off the box.
Let them shoes.
Try them on and walk around in them. Yeah. But I think you find it here and there. I don't need long periods. Just like here and there. Just give me an hour to get,
those breather moments.
Right. That's what's. I read once that the president takes power naps. They make all presidents take power naps because they're up in the middle of the night. So certain times of the day, they shut it down. Let him, just kind of decompress. And I try to do that.
Kamala Harris is now our vice president. How do you feel as a black woman with her being the second in command?
I'm floored. I'm so excited for her. When he picked her, had a lot of black friends that they had. I think some people were like, no, Susan Rice. No, it should have been Stacey Abrams. It should have been Keisha Lance Bottoms. I was like, wait a minute. You're taking America too fast. Keisha Keisha Lance Bottoms would be up in there telling everybody what to do. Well, I don't know if we need a real. Kamala is black. But I don't know if we need a sister. I don't know if we need Stacey Abrams or Keisha, a Delta who hair is shaved in the back, who do not believe in you talking no trash.
Right.
I don't know if we're ready. Yeah. Oh, we're ready for her.
Right.
But America as a whole, the first thing they would say about her, she's so aggressive. Oh my God, she's scary mean. That kind of thing. Mm-hmm. So I think she was the absolute best choice. I think she definitely has the credentials. Look at all she's done. She's been shattering, things. The first female DA, the first black DA in San Francisco. Then, to come to the Senate. So I think she's going to do amazing things. I think it's wonderful. She went to HBCU. For little girls, black and any other color, to look and see her accomplished. I was shocked that nobody tried to say, "Oh, she's dumb," because she's probably going to get that. I think we had a few people. Sarah Palin, who said she was his mistress or something like that. Yeah. But what it says to girls, you can do anything. You really can. Right. You really can, because I know she had some, we're just talking about her accomplishments now, but I know she had some pitfalls. I know she had, people who tried to put a wall up so she couldn't go any further, or kick the ladder down after they got up because they don't want her to come up. But she was able to do it. And, that if you just keep going and persevere, it's going to happen. It may not happen in your own time. Mm-hmm. Even for me, I would have loved to have been PD in my 20s. But
timing.
It wasn't my time. Mm-hmm.
I don't know about you, but I got like one more question.
Go ahead, bro.
Do you realize your voice? Like, do you realize the influence in your voice in this community? Sometimes
I don't. Every once in a while, I tell you when I realize it the most. If I'm out somewhere, I'm an approachable person. You talk to me, ask me a question, what I said on the thing, on the radio or whatever. But every once in a while, I'll be somewhere and somebody will say "Smooches," and look around, but I don't know who said it. Yeah. So then I kind of realize, okay, people do listen to me. But on a daily, I'm not one with the big head at all. So. And then when I'm out, if I'm over at Central, I'm just the kid's mom. So I would like to think that it's a good takeaway. I would like to think if I'm doing something wrong, or if something you don't like, I always invite constructive criticism. Let me know, because I feel like if one person tells you, there's at least in television we learned for every letter that we get or every call we get, that is at least 500 people who feel that same way.
Right.
So I always say if I'm doing something wrong or something you don't like or whatever, hey, let me know. I mean, we can talk about it. And I'm not always right. I mean, usually. But not always.
All right. That's good. Well, I have one more.
Okay, go ahead.
My bad.
Ask me anything you want, go ahead.
My bad. Can I end it?
No. Oh, yeah, go ahead.
One more thing.
It's on you.
At the end of the day, what does Miss AP want to be remembered for?
Gonna hit that damn miss. I went a whole damn hour. Next he's gonna say ma'am. Okay, go ahead.
What do AP want to be remembered for when it's all said and done?
That I was a good person. That I'm genuine. Of course, that I was a good mom. I'm a hell of a mom. That no matter who you are or where you are, what you're doing, because I have people who hit me up from jail, whole 9 yards. I believe in everybody. I love everybody. And, I've been down. I've been up. And I want people to know that it doesn't matter what you want to do or who you are. You're somebody to me. I love you. Unless you cross me. You fucked up.
That's very important.
Very important.
Then you fucked up.
Well, AP, like I said, an hour ago, we want to give you your flowers now.
Thank you.
We really appreciate you.
I had a good time.
I hope so.
I got to come and bust in on somebody else. I appreciate being here. I mean, in such a small city, I never hear it. Like, oh, hey, whatever. Because here, like I said, it's competitive. I remember Diddy, when he was here for Kim's funeral, he said Columbus is one of the few places he can go, and he almost don't need security.
That's a flex.
And so I said, because here, we think we just as important as you are. And he started laughing. He was like, it might be. I said, oh, yeah. He said, because I can walk down the street and they be like, Diddy, what up? And he said, but they keep going. He said, where in New York, it's like, I got this tape, I got this, I got that. Hey, I got this business venture I want to talk to you about. He was like, in Columbus, they be like, what's up? And keep walking. He said, I went to Cheddar's. Mm-hmm. And people were like, Cheddar's, dang, you look like Diddy.
Damn, you look like Diddy.
You look like Diddy.
And he said he told the waitress, I get that all the time. And he said, but any place else, they would have known. Hey, Diddy. He said, he said, Columbus is a very unique city. Well, I said, yeah, because we think we're just as important as you. Who are you? Diddy? Yeah, almost $1 billion. I made $8 an hour. who the fuck are you?
Right. Stay in the loss.
Exactly. Let me give you some Let me give you some pointers of how you can do some shit.
See, I go to Martini's every Friday.
Thank you. Okay, exactly. Beers for everybody.
But you only get one.
That's it.
But,
so I think for you to say that people hear me, because I usually don't hear it. I promise you I don't. And especially from women. Mm. Well, I have had women tell me, oh, I've never heard of you. And then later on in the conversation, they was like, yeah, because last week you said, so wait a minute.
Cal, stop capping.
Right. I thought you ain't never heard of me. And it's okay, because I'm not that girl who's like, oh, yeah, everybody's heard of me. Yeah.
Well, we heard of you, and we appreciate you for being a part of Free Gems, man. Because, like I said, this was not only big for us, but not only big for myself, but it was huge for us.
Anytime y'all need something, y'all gotta come by the studio too. Maybe I can do one from the studio.
Hey,
most definitely.
Yeah, that's something to think about. It's open.
Listen, if you extending the olive branch,
let us know.
We in there.
Sound good to me.
Well, one more thing before you go. Mm-hmm. How we like to end the show is we always ask who's in your top 5, but in this case, we're gonna say, who is in your top 5 in radio?
In radio. Okay, because my top 5 overall would be my dad, would be number 1. Forever a dad's girl. In radio? And are we talking about jocks? Or are we talking about music artists? Or
no, we talk jocks.
Okay. Here in town?
Period.
Oh my goodness. Can I exclude here in town? Because I'm always say Cashflow and Jalen.
That's fine.
Okay. But
shout out to Jay. Shout out to Cashflow.
Exactly. Overall, okay, probably number 5 would be Miss Shanika.
Okay.
She is on the radio at Streets in Atlanta. The Miss Magic.
Okay.
She is PD and she's in Chattanooga. Let's see. Cannon Kent. She is a record exec. And not in radio, but I adore her.
And what's her name again?
Cannon Kent.
Cannon Kent. What she?
She's Atlantic.
Okay. Okay.
I'll take it old school, and I'll probably even Bill Black and JoJo McToy.
Okay.
Who I used to work with, and they've gone on to do big things. And let's see, Big Mike, who used to be at Fox 105 here in Columbus, but now he's PD in 2 different markets.
Man.
He's in South Carolina. He's in Myrtle Beach, and he has been really a saving grace and a mentor to me, along with DJ Hot Sauce. And Hot Sauce used to do middays on the beat, but he's been all over the place, Milwaukee, Texas, and Hot Sauce still, even with all he's done, does my mixes for me every day.
Oh.
Does my and does a show for me. So Hot Sauce and C Styles, who lives in DC, about 2 blocks away from the Capitol, but I could not go because everything was locked down, because I was going to be sleeping on his couch, so I could go to see everything. So that didn't work out. So I think it's a mixture of women and men, but and some that are not in radio any more. I have a friend named Monique Jordan, Nikki Nicole from back in the day. Y'all were probably babies when Nikki was on, but Nikki went to she went to Miami Beach, and Nikki has done just phenomenal things. Divine Martino, Vicky James, all those ladies. You know, when I'm naming ladies in radio that I feel like they're trailblazers and they're doing big things. Divine just became assistant PD, so just my girls.
Right.
Man, this was lovely.
Yeah.
Right.
But I don't want to say it, but I have to.
Go ahead and say it, man.
This concludes this episode of Free Gems Network.
I'll be back. We're gonna have a cussing episode next time. How she really talk.
Free Gems Network.